Hey guys, it's Tara Castaneda here. I'm going to jump into our training, and this is for Silver Ambassadors. So recently we polled you guys and said, what do you want to know about most to build your businesses based on where you are in your current business being a Silver Ambassador? And we got an overwhelming response to learn about events. Why are they important and how to make them successful? So that's what we're going to go over today. And I've got 3 reasons why they are important and 3 ways to make them successful. Okay, so first let's go over why are they important? Well, the first and most important thing that they do is they build belief. All right. Not only do they build belief in your potentials that you bring there, right? They get to see everybody's passion and excitement. They see that it's not just you. They feel a community. They get to kind of witness it one-on-one. It's more tangible to them. It's more impactful. So it's building their belief. But guess what? It also builds belief for you as well. It connects you with like-minded ambassadors. It teaches you, even when you attend events, it teaches you how to run one, how to show your passion, how to talk about Plexus. It connects you with our community. So it's so important. If you haven't been to an event, please get to one. Find someone that's doing one in your town. It could be a totally different team or one Plexus, so people invite others there. It could be one that's happening on your team currently, your larger team, and get connected with that. If you are ready to get to gold as a Silver Ambassador, your number one thing should be, okay, I need to sit down and heavily consider doing an event for myself. Okay, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit on how to do that. But they build belief. That's number 1. Number 2, and I kind of hinted on it a few seconds ago, was it provides third-party validation and connection. All right, so what's third-party validation? Okay, it's kind of like if you are ever, maybe you're at your office, right? Or maybe you're at a jungle gym with your kids and someone next to you is talking about how they just love this restaurant. They just love this restaurant. And you're like, oh, okay. And then a second person jumps in. They're like, oh my gosh, I love that restaurant too. You are so much more likely to go to that restaurant because now you've heard not 1 but 2 people talk about it. So now you've got that third party, right? Not just the direct party, but that third party, that second person, or those other people that are loving it as well. So when you get your guests to an event, they not only have known that you are passionate about it, but guess what? They get to see lots of other people that are passionate about it. Not just one other person, but lots of other people that are passionate about it. They are going to be more likely to take this opportunity more seriously. Third-party validation and connection. It connects you and it connects them more directly to Plexus. Number 3, why is it important? They're effective. They work. Okay, think about it this way, guys. We live in modern day, right? We heavily rely on text messaging, emailing, Facebook messaging. It's all written text, right? Did you know that 70% of our message it comes from body language, right? Imagine if I just wrote that, right? 70% of our message comes from body language versus me saying 70% comes from our body language, right? Your brain connects closer to that fact, right? That's why videos are so important. They are effective. Meetings are effective because of that reason too. You get the opportunity to showcase that body language and connect with them on a deeper level rather than just relying on electronics, right? They can see your passion. They can see others' passions. They can hear your excitement. They can hear others' excitement. And they can feel your genuineness, right? That's really important. And it helps them feel more confident in their decision to consider Plexus, okay? All right, so second, how do we make them successful? Okay, well, the one thing that makes events successful, the one thing is getting guests there. If you don't have guests there, they're not going to be effective, right? So how do we get guests there? Well, let me back up for a second. I want to touch base on one little thing. It's so important for us as ambassadors to go to these events, right? It builds belief, it connects us. But once you go to so many without bringing guests, it's almost as if you're going there for social hour, right? we want to encourage guests to come with us, okay? So how do we get them there? Well, the invitation and the follow-up is the most important thing. That whole sequence, right, of inviting and following up is the most important thing to get guests there, right? So how do I invite them? You pick up the phone. You go invite them for coffee and then you guys talk about it. Or you're out with them at lunch and you bring it up in person so that they can hear your voice is so important. That's really the best way to do it. If you're unable to do that, then text message them privately and personally. Send them a Facebook message personally. Send them an email personally. Make their invitation personal. You want them to feel special. You just thought of them and said, hey, you've been on my mind. I would love to see you. I'd love to catch up, but I really would love for you to come and see what I'm so passionate about. I think you'd love it. Make them feel special in that invitation. Do not, I repeat, do not just go through your Facebook friends list and click invite to all of your friends to the Facebook event that shows where it is. That will turn people off faster than I don't know what. Right? So you don't want to do that. You want to send them a message and say, hey, you're on my mind. I'd love for you to come. I've invited you online so you can check out the details, where it is, the time, to see if it's something that you'd like to do. So be looking for that on Facebook. Do not just go through and blindly invite everybody. If you want to invite a whole bunch of people, by all means do it, but connect with them on a personal level before you just click that invite button. Okay, make it personal. Then I always encourage my team, and this is what I do, is follow up in a certain pattern after you've invited. Okay, so you've probably invited them maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks before. Okay, check in with them weekly. If you've invited them 3 weeks before, then check in, the next week or the second week, right? Just on a weekly basis. But then let's say that you've invited them and it's an event that's coming up relatively quickly in the next week. So 3 or 4 days before the event, you just remind them if they haven't responded. Remind them, hey, I know life gets super busy, but just want to check in and see if you're able to attend. I'm so excited, right? And then the day before, regardless if they have not, and regardless if they have accepted the invite, the day before you want to touch base with them and remind them, y'all, life gets busy. Life gets busy. I don't know what I did yesterday. I don't even know. I feel like the past 24 hours has been 3 weeks. That's how busy my life has been lately. So people will forget things unintentionally. So you want to remind them gently, right? You're not bugging them. Just remind them and say, hey, I know that you've already RSVP'd, but I just wanted to remind you that, it's tomorrow at 7. I cannot wait to see you, right? Things happen quickly, so you want to make sure that they can still attend. And if they can't, figure out a way to connect with them elsewhere. And then if they haven't RSVP'd, you're touching base with them one more time. Hey, I know life is super busy, but I just wanted to see if you're able to come. I'd love to know that I'm going to get to see you tomorrow, right? So a couple days before, and then the day before, you want to follow up with them. When you've mastered the art of inviting and following up, you're going to see a really good turnout to your event. And that's really important, okay? All right. The second thing how to make it a successful event is encourage not only yourself, but your teammates who are coming to always bring one guest. Right? Try to bring one guest. It might not always happen. Sometimes it's hard to get people to events, and that's okay. That's normal. But try really, really hard to always make it a goal to bring one guest. Okay, something that I encourage you guys to consider is doing some sort of an incentive for anybody on your team that brings a guest, right? If you bring a guest, you get this, or if you bring a guest, you're entered to win this. But get people excited about bringing friends and not just making it a social hour. Get people excited to want to come. That's super important. All right, and the last tip on how to make them successful is you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Okay, I know that when I was considering doing events on my own, I'm more of a natural public speaker, and I know that not everybody's like that, okay? But one thing that had me a little nervous was, what do I say? How do I make a PowerPoint? Guess what, guys? There are so many out there that are so helpful and useful. So what the admins of this page of Summer Sprint, this is for a challenge. This, if you're watching this video outside of the challenge, I'm making this video for a challenge. But for the purposes of this video, we will make sure that the admins on the page for this challenge will upload at least one opportunity event PowerPoint for you guys to edit, tweak as needed, and use for yourself. So you don't have to worry about making something up, okay? So, so we're gonna cut that pressure out for you. We're gonna provide that for you. Let's see, I'm looking at some notes. Also, don't be nervous, okay? The best way to get over nerves is to practice it, right? So before you go and you share this with, some friends or a team, practice it in front of your significant other. Practice it in front of your kiddos. Practice it in front of a mirror. Practice it in front of your best friend who is coming, but you know that they're going to love on you anyway for practicing it. But practice what you're going to say. Time out each slide. It doesn't have to be everything about Plexus. It doesn't have to be ins and outs and super, super heavy details. I encourage it not to be, right? Just share the key points. Follow the guidelines of the PowerPoint. That's going to be really simple and straightforward for you. Be passionate, be you, use your own voice, be excited, and be mindful of your guests' time. The worst thing, what's worse than a bad PowerPoint is a long, bad PowerPoint, right? Or long, bad meeting. So let's just make sure that you practice each slide as maybe 30 seconds or maybe a minute or maybe 5 minutes if it's a lengthy slide. But be mindful of your guests' time because they are going to be there and the last thing you want them to be is bored or looking at their watches, right? So just practice it. Get with your upline if you're nervous and practice it with them on the phone. But just make sure that you're comfortable with the material. One of the best things that I think you can do if this is your first event is get a co-host with somebody. Okay, so who can you co-host with? You can co-host with your upline. That's a great one. Co-host an event with your upline. I've done that many times whenever I can. My team isn't super local to me, so whenever I can travel, I definitely try and do that. But co-host with your upline. Co-host with a more experienced sideline partner. Right? Maybe one who's done one before, co-host with them so they can kind of guide you and show you through the ropes and then you can do the same. Pay it forward, right? Or co-host with a friend, right? Just get someone there to help you. It'll balance out your nerves. It'll make you feel more confident. You guys can do a run through so that you're comfortable. Number one thing is you just need to be comfortable and know that you can't say anything wrong. You can't, because if you say something that you want to tweak, you can always re-say it, right? So those are my 3 reasons on why events are important, right? Build belief. The third-party validation is super helpful and they're effective. And the 3 ways to make sure that they're successful is get guests there through the invitation and follow-up sequence. Make sure you're following a really good sequence on that. Encourage people to bring guests. Encourage your teammates to bring guests. That's super important. Don't just make it a social hour. And 3, don't reinvent the wheel. I hope this excites you guys and gets you excited to do events. I can't wait to see and get some feedback from you guys on who is inspired to do their first one. All right, take care. Bye.